Mickey Mouse. Cute, classic cartoon character, loved by multiple generations. And new horror icon? So, Mickey Mouse is a cartoon character who needs no introduction. He's been around for, well, almost 100 years. And let me tell you, Disney has been trying to keep this mouse on a stranglehold so the public doesn't get any of their grubby little fingers on it. But after delaying the copyright laws multiple times, Mickey Mouse is in the public domain finally. Now, when copyright first became a thing, it was originally planned that after 14 years, whatever that copyrighted work was falls into the public domain, which means anybody can use that material. And you could renew it once for an additional 14 years. Well, by the time Disney came along, they had got that pushed back to 95 years, trying to keep the public from using their mascot in anything other than something that was Disney approved. But finally, the time has come, and now anyone can use Mickey Mouse for whatever they want. Well, correction. Anyone can use Steamboat Willie for whatever they want. So that means more modern renditions of Mickey Mouse. Those can't be used, but as long as you're using the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, it's fair game. At least as fair as Disney's lawyers can make it, I guess. They're still being pretty strict on it, is what I'm trying to say. Like, yes, legally you can use Mickey Mouse, but Disney's gonna stop you if they can legally. But that hasn't stopped not one, but two directors trying to come out with their own Steamboat Willie / Mickey Mouse horror films. I'm sure most of you at this point have heard of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the horror movie starring the beloved children's character Winnie the Pooh that came out in 2023. That's when Pooh entered the public domain along with most of his castmates other than Tigger, and a horror movie was created about him. And that movie made a bunch of money. So, when Steamboat Willie comes into the public domain, starting as of January this year, 2024, people are jumping on it. They're trying to get a little bit of that moolah, you know what I'm saying. The first Mickey Mouse themed horror movie is called Mickey's Mousetrap, which they may end up having to change the name of that since they're actually using the name Mickey Mouse and not Steamboat Willie or anything. I can see them possibly changing it to just Mousetrap or something similar. I guess now that I think about it, they're not actually using Mickey Mousetrap. They're using Mickey ''S, Mickey's Mousetrap. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up changing the name. It's directed by James Bailey, and there's actually a trailer out for it already. I'm probably showing clips of it here in the video as long as my video doesn't get, demonetized or something, which I'm not monetized anyway, but man, a boy can dream. This one takes place at a amusement arcade, which seems like a weird setting for a Mickey Mouse horror movie, even if it is, like... Alright, so Steamboat Willie, you think of a boat, right? You think of something, on the water or by a river or something like that. Not an arcade. And even if it wasn't Steamboat Willie, an arcade? Like, what? Anyway, I digress. The movie does not seem very good. No, it's just, from what I can tell in the trailer, now, again, they could turn things around, but I don't have very high hopes for this one. They use some of the cheesiest lines. Like, one of the characters at one point says, "I'll be right back," and then another guy goes,
"And he's dead."
What?
Like if he was in a horror movie, you'd never say, "I'll be right back," because then you don't.
Which, that doesn't make sense, first of all. Second of all, that's like a super dated thing to say. It's like so cliche that you say that now. Making fun of cliches in horror movies has become cliche in of itself. Come on. Get with the times. But yeah, it's just a guy wearing a Mickey Mouse mask or a Steamboat Willie mask and running around killing people in what looks to be a very standard slasher. It doesn't look very inspired at all. It really just feels like it's a cash grab, which, I mean, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone at this point. But, you'd think they'd try to be a little bit more imaginative with it. With this particular type of concept, I could see it maybe working if it was like a diehard Steamboat Willie fan who's like trying to kill people who are like trashing on the original work or something, but I really just don't see that happening. I tried to see what other films that the director had worked on, and nothing I had ever heard of before. In fact, some of them looked pretty dang cheesy. Like, it's just kind of like B-rated movie, like one of the most top-rated movies at 4.0 out of 10 stars on IMDb that the director has made is called De-Influencer, which, if that gives you any idea on how that movie is going to be, just by the name alone, you can kind of see where that is going. It's just... And it seems like he's got the same guy in like all of his movies. Like the guy who's playing Mickey and Mickey's Mousetrap, Simon Phillips, is in like every single movie that this guy has made, from what I can tell. Which, I mean, if these are two friends that just have a lot of fun creating movies together, sure. And I'm not knocking the guy too hard. Like, just because the movies aren't great, I mean, I hope they're having fun making it. Creating stuff is awesome. So all the power to you. But maybe just try a little bit to make him kind of good. Just a little bit. The plot synopsis of this movie, at least according to IMDb, is it's Alex's 21st birthday, but she's stuck at an amusement arcade on a late shift, so her friends decide to surprise her. But a masked killer dressed as Mickey Mouse decides to play a game of his own with them, which she must survive. So again, just like, does it even matter that it's Mickey Mouse? I think they're really just slapping a Mickey Mouse mask on because it's in the public domain, and people are going to watch it because of that. Other than that, I think this movie probably going to be pretty forgettable, but again, it could surprise us. Who knows? The second Mickey Mouse themed horror movie that's supposed to be coming out is just called Steamboat Willie. Actually, from after looking into it, it doesn't look like it has a title yet, but they're not using the name Mickey Mouse. They're just calling the character Steamboat Willie. They are being way more careful. It's directed by Stephen Lamorte, which I might be pronouncing that wrong, but if you've ever heard of the horror movie based off of The Grinch called The Mean One, it's the same director who did that, which, from what I've heard, the movie itself isn't very good, talking about The Mean One, but the cast and crew have a ton of fun making these movies, and they've kind of, you know, feel more like a family from what I've heard, rather than just like co-workers. So I have a little bit more hope for this one than I do Mickey's Mousetrap, even though that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a masterpiece or anything. The director even says that they're not doing this for a cash grab, that this is something they've been wanting to do with the character for a while and put a new take on it, which I don't know how much of that I believe, because it kind of, you know, any horror movie that's coming out based off of a character that was just now dropped in the public domain is gonna feel like a cash grab. But like I said, I do have more hope for this one. For one, this one's actually going to take place on a ferry boat, which for a character named Steamboat Willie seems more appropriate. And I don't think it's actually supposed to be a guy in a mask. It's going to be a mouse creature, which I am all for that. Like when Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey came out, they're supposed to be creatures. Like the guy who's playing Pooh is actually supposed to be a bear, even though it looks exactly like just a dude in a mask. Same with Piglet. And I kind of hate that. Just like make them look kind of monstrous rather than just a dude wearing a mask, because how many scary movies do we have with a guy wearing a mask? Like, you can't just put a different mask on somebody and expect it to be good because it's a recognizable character. At least from what I can tell on this one, it is supposed to be a mouse creature. I hope it does look a bit more interesting and creative than just a guy wearing a mask, but I guess time will tell. Now, there's no trailer to this one or anything out yet, but they are supposed to start filming in spring of 2024. But apparently The Mean One was shot and made incredibly quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Steamboat Willie horror movie by this director by the end of the year. But it's not only the cinema that's getting a horror version of Steamboat Willie. No, there's actually a video game by the name of Infestation Origins that is coming out where, from what I can tell, you're on a boat, and there, again, is a mouse creature who looks exactly like Steamboat Willie that is, trying to kill you and you need to survive. The developers describe it like this. In the year 1988, what was thought to be an outbreak of rodents in various locations morphed into something far more sinister. So apparently there's going to be times where you fight, there's going to be times where you run. You'll also use things like security cameras. I feel like they're going to take a lot of the things that made Five Nights at Freddy's pretty popular, like the security cameras and the fact that it's taking place in the 80s. But, regardless, if it's a fun game, it's a fun game. Does it seem cash grabby? Sure. But it's supposed to be available on Steam later this year, so I'm kind of looking forward to checking that out at least. And again, not just a dude in a mask, it is a mouse creature. With all that being said, that can only lead to one thing. In 2025, Popeye the Sailor Man comes into the public domain. You and me, we're going to make a Popeye scary movie. Let's get to it. We got to jump on this ship now, so we're ready to drop this as soon as 2025 comes around. And after that, Betty Boop scary movie in 2026. And in 2034, we're making a Batman and Superman scary movie. Come on. Seriously, I would love to be a part of any projects that are making anything like this. I know I was just talking about how these other movies seem kind of bad, which, again, they could be, but I do have hope for them, and I am all for people doing their own creative twists on things like that. So if I can be involved in like a scary movie of one of these iconic characters, I would really think that would be fun. I hate to trash on people who create things. I'm not going to be like a cynical critic or anything like that, but if you're going out of your way to create something for people's entertainment, or even just create something to fulfill this urge inside of you that just wants to make things like, that's awesome. And I hope these people are having a fantastic time making these Steamboat Willie horror movies. And if it makes them a quick buck for their imagination, that's awesome. Just please put some imagination in it. Please, just like, I don't want to see a guy in a Mickey Mouse mask. I don't want to see a guy in a Popeye the Sailor Man mask. I don't want to see a guy in a Betty Boop mask. I don't want to see... You get the point. But yeah, I think as long as you can be pretty creative with it, there could be potential there. I mean, Mickey Mouse is kind of a nothing character anyway. Sorry, Disney. But, he's kind of a blank slate on purpose, so you can do whatever you want with them. So yeah, I think it could work in a horror movie setting. Heck, you don't even have to make Mickey the villain. You can make Mickey trying to survive a situation that's way more gruesome than what Disney would have ever come out with. You know what I mean? Like, Mickey's the final girl. Well, I guess Minnie could be the final girl. Technically, Minnie's in the public domain now, too. The Minnie from Steamboat Willie. And one thing I noticed after actually watching the Steamboat Willie original cartoon is that Mickey actually uses a lot of different animals as musical instruments. So that could be incorporated into a horror movie as well. Like, maybe he's taking his victims and making musical instruments out of their body parts. Similar to that episode of Hannibal, if you guys have ever seen that show. You know what? That's actually a pretty good idea. I might make an animation out of that. If I've made an animation out of that, I'll make sure to put it at the end of the video in one of the clickable links. It might not be the same day I upload this video, because, animation takes a little bit, but be on the lookout for that a couple days after or a week after, because I think I am going to do that. But, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say on the topic. I'm really interested to see what comes out of these projects here. And who knows, maybe I'll do a video on them when they come out. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to go make dinner. I'm very hungry. Try to donate to a charity at some point this year. But that's it. Hope you guys have a good evening. See ya.